Mighty Black Man 360. For the record, fam, you niggas is slaves. Straight up. Understand two things. One, everybody got a birth certificate. So that's gonna be the topic of the day. Is why do you carry the documents that you carry? You are what they call cargo. You are a slave. A certificate is a bond created when you came out of your mother's water and was docked on the United States of America's shores. So they had to have a certificate of birth from the vessel that was carrying you to inform them that what was on the vessel and what it would be worth. So if you look on your birth certificate, you notice that your mother is the informant because she is the vessel in which you came off the waters of, because you came out of your mother's water. So with that being said, they created what they call a bond on you. This bond is sold on the New York Stock Exchange. If you don't believe me, you can look your shit up. You can go on any stock exchange, type the numbers in off of your birth certificate, and you're guaranteed to find yourself as a human resource on the New York Stock Exchange. They call it either preferred stock or they call it common stock. You know, I'm just here to give it to you. You don't believe me? I really don't give a damn. Point is this. In 1933, the United States went bankrupt. And a man by the name of Franklin Delano Roosevelt came up with a thing called what they call the New Deal. Now, in this New Deal, they created a fictitious person in order to create collateral for the United States corporation. When you go bankrupt, you have to show that you, I guess, have some kind of something to put up to get the credits that you're going to use for the currency. So anyway, this fictitious person was created by using our birth certificates as the MCO, which is called the Manufacturer Certificate of Origin, and the state in which we are born as the port of entry. This gave the fictional government a fictional person with whom to deal directly. This person is known as the bailer, or also known as the straw man. In today's term, it is known as the bailer. Uh, Note that Social Security, driver's licenses are all United Nations documents. Also note that symbols of United Nations documents are composed of capital letters combined with figures. Mention of such a symbol indicates a reference to a United Nations document. Alright? So there you have it. What they just said was if your ass got a driver's license, social security card, you have a United Nations ID. So all that, I'm a Republican for the Republican United States, that shit has been done. We are in the Constitution of the United Nations. Just in case you bitches didn't know that. It says, understand that what this is about. It's ridiculous. It's like what they do is they make you believe that when they come to your door for something, they have this authority over you, that they can just lay hands upon you. But the truth is, they under this law called abnormality law. When you walk into the courtroom, you see this flag with the gold fringes on it. Why do you see that flag? Believe it or not, there's differences in each flag that you look at. That is what they call the flag of the sea, because the United States only has jurisdiction over the seas and over armories and forts and stuff, but they don't have jurisdiction over the lands. They're contracted their sources out through governors and things to that nature. So you have to understand what you're dealing with when you're dealing with it. So just like having a social security number, the back of your social security number is what they call their priority exemption account number. Every American has what they call a remedy through House Joint Resolution 192 to discharge all debt using their priority exemption account. But nobody really knows what the hell this is, so people like credit card companies and your job and other motherfuckers like that, they call it abandoned property and they use it for their own profits and gains. We are not the creditors, people. We are the fiduciaries and the beneficiaries of everything. There is no debt. The debt is the money that they owe the American people. The people who brought the gold and the silver to the United States Treasury are owed the debt. The only debt they're trying to pay is the interest on it. So to get that straight, yeah, the IMF loans money, but that's not money. That's fiat currency. Those are debt instruments. That is not money. The only thing that was valuable was silver and gold. That's why they want to go back to the silver and gold standard, because they issued dollar bills in payment of gold and the amount of gold that you had. But like I said, to discharge means the release of a debtor for claims that were or could have been addressed in an insolvency proceeding. Speaking of solvency, America is insolvent. Therefore, they have no rights over you. They're a corporation, just like McDonald's has a president, a vice president, a cabinet, and representatives that go out and promote their principles of business called democracy. Well, it's just like McDonald's. Well, you know what I mean. It's exactly what I was just trying to explain. McDonald's and America are the same equivalent. They are just like two corporations. If you go into McDonald's, they can't make you mop the floor because you're in McDonald's. Now, but if you're wearing a McDonald's outfit and a McDonald's name tag and a McDonald's hat and you got a McDonald's time card, they say, hey, we need you to mop the floor. And then they can lay rules and laws upon you. Well, that's the same way America works. America gives you an ID, a license, and a registration and all this, and they tell you, hey, you got to get all this stuff. But the truth is, what you're doing is giving yourself ownership, giving your ownership to them, so that they are included, which makes them a part of you now. So now they have the right to lay their statutes, laws, and regulations upon you, because laws and regulations only apply to the law society, which you are really not a member of. A law society only deals with those of lawyers, judges, and things of that nature, police officers, and legislatures, and people of that nature. So if you don't pay attention, this is how they get you, because they want you to voluntarily put yourself in prison. That's why you have to sign the paperwork when you go in. That's why you have to be read Miranda rights when you go in. When you get stopped, you tell them this is under protest and duress. For every 5 feet you take me, it's going to cost you $7,000. Because of the fact of you are flesh and blood man, and they have no power over the flesh and blood man. You are not in harming anyone, and no one's called and been harmed. They have no right to force business upon you. They try to give you a ticket without giving you the original receipt. That's that's a dishonor in business. So keep your eyes peeled. I'm just touching base on a couple of things. Like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and you know, flip through the pages and tell you every damn thing I know. I'm just going across some stuff and let you know that what y'all need to be understanding. Understand that the courtroom is like a boat. That's why it's built everywhere the same way. There's the audience, then there's a bar that you have to cross in order to go into the court. Never cross that bar, because as soon as you cross that bar, you're in their jurisdiction. As soon as you cross that bar, you have no rights. So understand that you have to first make the judge identify himself as judge and not banker, because the only way that they can operate is through banking. They can't function through judge. If he functions through judge, that means you have the right to take your case elsewhere because they have no sovereignty over you. So you can release your case to the nation of Utah and they do the judging. And the problem is that most people don't know that, so they throw those who do know, they try to persecute, or if you don't even say persecute, they just try to keep you hush hush because they'll tell you, hey, sit right here or whatever. But if you don't walk inside that bar, you pretty much in trouble. You know what I'm saying? You have to let it be known through public record that you are a flesh and blood man and that you are alive. You are not 3/5 human in the Constitution, because black people, they still got us listed as 3/5 human. They vote every 25 years on your voting rights. So therefore, you don't even exist to these people. You are cargo. That's why so many black men are in prison, because they store you up like cargo. So, and then you go in there voluntarily. They ask you they have an arraignment, then they have the sentencing separate, and then they ask you, do you accept your sentencing, and you agree, and you go and you sign the papers. So stop voluntarily putting yourself in prisons. You don't have to sign anything. You do not have to be surety for any bond that they're trying to create. Remember that every time that you go to jail, there's a dollar amount added to whatever crime you do. This will prove that this is a commercial entity that they're dealing with. That's why everything that you're dealing with is in all caps when you get your mail, when you get your bills, when you get your ID, when you get your social security card, because that's your fictional business. That's your corporation, known as the person. The person is a corporation. The natural person is known as the flesh and blood man, who has unalienable rights. Unalienable rights mean these are your God-given rights that no one can take away from you, not even the so-called courts or whatever, which means you have the right to pursue happiness, be free, clear of all debts or whatever the case may be, as long as you have not stolen or robbed from anyone else. So don't let these people fool you. And that's what they've been doing. But see, the gig is up. Everybody's starting to know what's going on, and we gonna spread it like a bad disease. And keep your eyes peeled for the next Mighty Black Man show, because we gonna drop it like it's hot every chance we get. Shalom alaikum.